Hello, welcome back again. It's my turn. I'm the lucky last for our stamp camp today, and this is my fun fold. I'm Julia. Sorry, should have mentioned who was chatting away to you there. So welcome back to our stamp camp. Lucky last for me today, and this is I'm just trying to dial it up so I make sure that you're all good and you can see what I can see what you are doing. Hang on, still looking. I apologize. And this time I'll try not to rush quite so much like I did last time. You don't want I can take my time a little bit more. I was rushing before to try and make sure that we didn't make the day too late for you. Okay, so this card is a faux step fold. So it's stands up like that. It's a sort of card you give to someone and they can display it when they've got it. And I'm using, the extra thing I'm using on my card is the exposed brick folder, which some of the other cards have used as well. I'm using, for my card base, Smoky Slate, and the scoring lines will be in the tutorial for you. So the largest section you fold in half and then go in a concertina backwards and forwards. I better burnish them to make sure that they make nice crisp folds. Okay, so that's your card base there. All right, it makes a Z, so up, down, up, down. So that's the card base, and then the second piece is the faux step, and that just has one score line in it, and that will get stuck on the front and at the back. And it will fold flat to go into your envelope. Hello, everyone who's here to join me. Right, and the other little bits, I have done my die cutting. So I do have the little park bench there with that little die. Just put you out of the way. I have die cut the 3 little windows, and they're still in there, so I'll just leave them so I don't lose them. Put my scrap out of the way. Oh, this is my little piece for the front, and I've got an identical one for inside my card. I've die cut the lamp shade and the front part of the awning using foil, and then I've got my 2 pieces of embossing, which I can put straight onto my card actually. So I'll get these out of the way and put these together. So this one is embossed brick, and if you like, you could also add a little bit of ink using a blending brush to give it extra texture, just to highlight that gorgeous embossed brick. I knew that was going to happen right at the end of my roll. Luckily I got one out of my bag. So this is the piece for the front of my faux step, and leaving a little bit of a border all around the edge there. Okay, so I've got those and those ready, and I can actually stick that onto the front of my card. Now, what I like to do is flip over my cardstock so I know exactly where I want to place my adhesive, okay? So I'm going to line up the edge of my fold line underneath there, and then I can add my seal all over that, and then I'll layer that right in the center. And on this piece here, a little bit of seal on the top edge of my card base, and a little bit of seal on the, or tape or glue, whatever you like, on the very edge of the piece that's stuck down. And then I just fold that, keep it nice and flat, and then there's my card ready to go. Okay, and then I have for the front, oops, I've lost my extra bit of, it must be here, here it is, my extra piece of pecan pie for the front, and a little bit of designer series paper to look like the tiled footpath. Let me double check. Yep, that's exactly the same length. And then I'll put this over the top of the, here, line it up there and there, just to finish off so that it blends the faux step into the front. Okay, Inside my card I've got another piece of pecan pie just as my card mat. I'll stick that in, and then we'll be able to do all our lovely embellishments. Now in your kit I've given you the measurements for a piece for inside the card and an extra piece of designer series paper for the bottom of that. It's a little bit long, I think. And then this long piece is just to do your stamping and die cutting for all of the bits and pieces on the front of the card, okay? I'll show you how I did that. Just move you out of the way. Okay, everything, all of the stamping's been done with pecan pie. I started with the large shop base at the bottom. Just pop that down there. And then the next layer of the shop on the top of that. And thank goodness for the photopolymer so that you can see exactly where you're stamping. And then I did it again. So I did it twice. So it's a high-rise shop, this one. Okay, and then on the very top, I did the label to look like, you know, like vintage shops have a label at the top of the building. So that's where I put the happy birthday straight over the top of that. Okay, there's a lot of stamping in what I've done for this card, and I won't colour it all in for you today, but I'll show you. So the other thing on your piece of cardstock here is you need to stamp an extra little flower pot, and while I've got the flower pot I'll stamp one for the inside of the card as well, and an extra use the top of your cardstock for the sign. Okay, what have I got next? This is the table and chairs for inside the card. Put them there, and I'm leaving some space for that bit of designer series paper to go. Ooh. Maybe I didn't need enough space. Oops. And then my shop shelves. So the stamp set has lots of choices for your shelves. I'm doing the sweets because I like it. There we go. And then this little one, I love what Washwani did with this, creating that double layer on either side of the happy birthday. I've just put at the top of that. Okay. Now, when you're going to cut this out, I actually cut out the shop just with my snips. I found it easier than trying to die cut all the bits and pieces, so I cut the whole thing using snips. And then with the top of it, you need to get the die for the pot and the sign, and also this little one here for the awning to create the double layer awning. As I said, I won't do all of the colouring. You've had some incredibly good tutorials from Mashwani and Kayla with colouring and using blends. What I will say, I have one here ready to go. I will show you what colours I used. I used Pool Party for the windows, and only coloured them all on the left hand side. I used Smoky Slate for the door stoop. Okay. I used Real Red for the door and the frame and each of the layers and around the sign on top. Some Old Olive for the greenery, so for the flower pot. And one of the cakes is green actually. And then I used some of the naturals. So there's the lights and the light medium natural tones is what I used. But I did have fun. So let me have a look, see which one's the lightest. This one. I did have fun when I was colouring it in. I won't do the whole thing. As I said, you've had a lot of beautiful tutorials with colouring in this afternoon. But I put down my lightest layer and then my next lightest here, doing just some detail on the edges and around the window frames like that on each of them. And then with the darkest layer, I just went along and made little lines all the way up the sides and in between each of the windows. And I think it just added a lovely vintage look, okay, to the building there. And this one has been coloured in petal pink, but this one I've done in the naturals tones, okay. So that's what you'll do there. And the same with, I'll just get this. So I've done all my, I can take that away I think. Done all my colouring there. Here's my flower pots and my sign, and I can stick these in. Isn't it wonderful when you can use by the magic of television? Here's one I prepared earlier. Just throw those out of the way. Now with my die cuts, I did the same as Kayla and used a little bit of, what's it called? Adhesive sheet on the back of my foil pieces. So I can just pull, I just poke my, take your pick tool in to just get the edge of that. Take all that off and put that, oops, over the top of my awning there. I love this double step awning. I think it's beautiful. And then just before I do anything else, I'm going to stick this in, stick that on, otherwise I'll get confused. Whoops. Put my little bit of designer series paper there. Now, the same as the other one, I stuck it, stamped it too high, so I am going to trim that. There we are. So I'll put that on the inside of my card, so you can see how it's just all been put together. Okay, so there's that. I think that's everything I've got with this little guy. I will show you though, I probably can show you now before I put this all together. I did make another card exactly the same as this, just before I finish putting it together, using just the designer series paper. So I die cut the lamp post and the park bench and the awning again, but I just used the designer series paper to do exactly the same thing. So if you don't like colouring in, or you want to just use paper, there are plenty of options with this amazing paper. And what I did do, here's another piece of paper, not the same design, but I actually used one full shop front and then found another half a one and chopped it up and put it one on top of each other. Okay, and then I've put my happy birthday over the layering. All right, so that's what it looks like with the designer series paper. I'm just going to use some dimensionals here, and I've got a sheet with edge pieces. Doesn't that make it quick and easy? I'll pop you down there. Here we go. And this little guy needs two small ones there. And I'm putting this, because I've got that coloured in window piece at the top of my yummy things in the window, I'm putting the awning over the door. And then I can put my sign over here next to the door, getting the customers in. The little park bench, I think you need to use mini dimensionals for it. 1, 2, because it's teeny tiny. I'll pop him just over here on the street. Flower pot beside you. There we are. And then my little window things here, I thought they looked cute just inside the windows there. There we go. They can be the office windows so no one can see in. pop another one there. So fun how you've seen today lots of different ways to use all of the amazing elements in this suite. And then last of all, I feel like I've rushed it again. I'm sorry if I went too fast, is the lamppost. Just trying to get the... Oh, not doing too well here. Might have to glue it, which is not my favorite. There we go. Oh, just a piece of it. Okay, so take you off and peel you off there. There we go. Pop my little lamppost on the side of my building there. There we go. Okay, I'm done already. That's because I didn't do the colouring in. That's the thing that takes the most time with this card. So there you go, 3 different versions of exactly the same card. One using the designer series paper, one colouring in, and one colouring in with a different colour. Okay, and inside, enough room to write a greeting. And this one I didn't do any stamping inside, just used a bit more of the designer paper. The only stamping is the happy birthday on the inside of the building. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you've had a great time. Stick around, we'll have our farewell to you all very, very shortly. Bye bye now.